Imagine, if you will, the vast lands of the old Roman world, the streets of Constantinople echoing with the footsteps of merchants and scholars, the grandeur of Roman engineering, the libraries filled with ancient knowledge. Now picture that same city, centuries later, but not under the rule of emperors from the Senate or aristocrats of Latin heritage. Instead, it is governed by a family whose roots trace back to the nomadic steppes of Central Asia, the Ottomans. How could this have happened? How did the descendants of warriors on horseback come to claim the mantle of Roman rulers, with some even arguing that the Ottomans were the legitimate continuation of the Roman Empire? The story is more complicated than it seems, a tale of political intrigue, cultural blending, and the ever-shifting sands of history. The Roman Empire had long been divided between its eastern and western halves. When the Western Roman Empire crumbled, the Eastern Roman Empire, better known as the Byzantine Empire, continued on. The Byzantines saw themselves as the true heirs of Rome, and for nearly 1,000 years they carried the torch of Roman identity, albeit with a strong infusion of Greek culture and Orthodox Christianity. Their capital, Constantinople, stood as a fortress of the Roman world, an unyielding symbol of a legacy that stretched back to the time of Augustus. Yet, by the 15th century, this legacy was under immense pressure. The Ottoman Empire, founded by the descendants of Turkish tribes, had grown to be a powerful force on the edges of Byzantine territory. What began as small raids and conquests eventually evolved into a full-fledged encroachment on Byzantine lands. The Ottomans were not Roman in the traditional sense. They spoke a different language, followed a different religion, and had customs that diverged significantly from the Greco-Roman traditions. However, there were parallels. Just as the Romans had absorbed countless cultures into their empire, so too did the Ottomans. The early Ottoman rulers were pragmatic in their approach to governance. They recognized the strength of incorporating the diverse cultures within their domain, including the remnants of the Roman world. The Ottomans began to adopt the trappings of Byzantine court life, mixing their own traditions with the prestige of the Roman Empire they sought to replace. When Sultan Mehmed II finally captured Constantinople in 1453, it was a turning point in history. For many, this event symbolized the end of the Roman Empire. However, Mehmed saw it differently. He styled himself as the new Caesar, or Kaiser-i-Rum in Turkish, a direct successor to the Roman emperors who had ruled from the same city. Mehmed took on the symbols of Roman authority, and under his reign, Ottoman rulers began to embrace the idea that they were not just sultans of a new empire, but inheritors of an ancient legacy. This fusion of Roman and Ottoman identity became more pronounced in the centuries that followed. The Ottomans also maintained much of the administrative framework that had been in place under the Byzantines. They inherited not only the city of Constantinople, but also its sophisticated bureaucratic system, which had deep roots in Roman governance. Many of the officials in the early Ottoman administration were former Byzantine nobles and administrators who were familiar with the workings of the Roman Empire. In this way, the Ottomans became, at least in practice, a continuation of Roman governance in the Eastern Mediterranean. Religion, too, played a critical role in shaping this dynamic. The Byzantines had been defenders of Orthodox Christianity, but with the Ottoman conquest, Islam became the dominant faith in the region. However, the Ottomans were surprisingly tolerant of other religious groups, including Christians and Jews. In many ways, their approach mirrored that of the Romans, who had allowed a variety of religious practices within their vast empire. Mehmed II, in particular, took great care to ensure that the Christian population in his newly conquered territories was protected. He even re-established the Greek Orthodox Church, appointing a new patriarch in Constantinople. This pragmatic approach helped the Ottomans solidify their rule over formerly Byzantine lands, where Christian subjects could still see echoes of their Roman past. The cultural fusion extended beyond religion and governance. The Ottoman rulers, especially those who followed Mehmed II, sought to revive the intellectual and artistic traditions that had flourished under the Byzantines. The Ottomans patronized scholars, artists, and architects from both Islamic and Christian backgrounds, leading to a vibrant cultural renaissance in their empire. Many of the architectural marvels in Constantinople, such as the Hagia Sophia, originally a Byzantine cathedral, were preserved and repurposed by the Ottomans. The city itself, once the heart of the Byzantine Empire, became the jewel of the Ottoman realm, symbolizing the continuity of power from one empire to the next. Yet, for all these continuities, there were clear differences between the Ottomans and the Romans. The Ottomans brought with them their own set of traditions, many of which were rooted in their Turkic past. They were a militarized society, and their rule was characterized by a strong central authority in the form of the Sultan. Unlike the Roman Empire, which had developed a complex system of legal codes and republican traditions, the Ottomans ruled through a combination of Islamic law, Sharia, and the personal decrees of the Sultan. This distinction marked a significant departure from the Roman model of governance, even if the Ottomans embraced Roman symbolism. As the centuries passed, the notion that the Ottomans were a Roman dynasty became more firmly entrenched, at least in the minds of some. The title Sultan of Rum was used to denote the Ottoman ruler's claim to the Roman legacy, and many within the empire came to see the Ottomans as rightful heirs to the Byzantines. However, this view was not universally accepted. In the West, particularly in the Latin-speaking parts of Europe, the fall of Constantinople was seen as the end of the Roman Empire, not its continuation. To the Western Europeans, the Ottomans were invaders, outsiders who had overthrown a Christian empire. Nonetheless, in the regions that had once been part of the Byzantine Empire, the Ottomans were often seen in a different light. Many of the subjects of the Ottoman Empire, particularly the Christian populations in the Balkans and Anatolia, came to accept Ottoman rule as a new form of Roman governance. The Ottomans, for their part, continued to promote this idea, especially when it served their political interests. By claiming the Roman legacy, they positioned themselves as a legitimate power in the Mediterranean world, able to command respect from both their subjects and their rivals. In the end, the question of whether the Ottomans were truly a Roman dynasty is one that defies easy answers. On the one hand, they were clearly not Romans in the traditional sense. They came from a different cultural and religious background, and their methods of governance and society differed in significant ways from those of the Roman Empire. Yet, on the other hand, the Ottomans consciously embraced the Roman legacy, incorporating many elements of Byzantine and Roman culture into their own empire. They ruled from Constantinople, the heart of the Byzantine world, and they claimed the title of Caesar, positioning themselves as heirs to one of history's greatest empires. In this way, the Ottomans can be seen as a kind of Roman dynasty, albeit one that was transformed by the passage of time and the blending of cultures. Their empire was not a direct continuation of the Roman Empire, but it was, in many respects, a successor to it. Like the Romans before them, the Ottomans built a multi-ethnic, multi-religious empire that spanned continents and endured for centuries. They took on the mantle of Roman authority, even as they reshaped it to fit their own needs and aspirations. Perhaps the most compelling argument for the Ottomans as a Roman dynasty lies in their lasting impact on the region. The city of Istanbul, formerly Constantinople, remains a testament to the blending of Roman and Ottoman traditions. The Hagia Sophia, with its soaring domes and intricate mosaics, stands as a symbol of this cultural fusion. Even today, visitors to Istanbul can see the traces of Roman and Byzantine influence side by side with the grandeur of Ottoman architecture. This enduring legacy suggests that the Ottomans, despite their differences, were in many ways the last great Roman dynasty. In the grand sweep of history, the story of the Ottomans and their relationship to the Roman Empire is a reminder of how empires evolve and change over time. The Ottomans may not have been Roman in origin, but they carried forward many of the traditions and legacies of the Roman world. They ruled from the same city, governed many of the same lands, and claimed the same titles as the emperors who had come before them. In doing so, they carved out a place for themselves in the long and complex history of the Roman Empire, standing at the crossroads of East and West, Islam and Christianity, the ancient world and the modern one.